now I'm joined on the show with Lauren Kaye, who's going to tell us a little bit more about the remake. How are you, Lauren? You good?
Yeah, I'm really good. I'm so excited. It's kind of been a bit of a long time coming for this game, so I'm just really looking forward to it actually being released
Oh,
now.
absolutely. I mean, I've never felt so old thinking about how old PSPs are now. I mean, that was a long time ago, isn't it?
It is, and I really miss it as well. Obviously, like the Steam Deck and the Switch are kind of like, they're the new age consoles, but oh, the PSP, there's nothing like it. That and the Vita, they're just so cute, and I liked having little keychains. It was so much fun.
Literally, I know back in the day, now we're just all on console, really. I mean, the Steam Decks are good, and like you said, the Switch kind of tides us over. But like, it's different. It's a different time. It's a different time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh,
So tell us a little bit about the journey of these remakes, just to start us off before we crack into Final Fantasy VII, because there's been quite a journey of kind of like different games coming through, hasn't there? There's been a lore kind of tie-in. So tell us a little bit about how it all kind of started and the journey of it so far.
yeah, of course. So, I guess where we can start is probably the Final Fantasy VII remake because that came out like I think it's a couple years now. Like it's a few years old now, which is really scary to think.
Yeah.
But yeah, so when that came out, it really started to generate like all this all these questions like how long is it going to be, like how many games is it going to be, and there was a lot of rumors about how long the series could potentially be because essentially with the first game for Final Fantasy VII remake, it ended at a section that is basically like the first bit of the game. Like it's like the first disc of the game,
Oh my gosh.
the original one. So it's just kind of like, okay, where are we going to go from here? And so there's been talks about it potentially being 3 games in the series, but they've been kind of throwing these little tidbits of games just at us in the meantime while we're waiting for like the second part. So we had Final Fantasy VII Intergrade, which is actually focused around a character called Yuffie, who's one of the
Okay.
optional characters in the original game. And then now we have an announcement about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which should be part 2 of the remake. And then they announced Crisis Core Reunion, which is like this game is it's not something that we were expecting because they've said Square Enix has said in the past that they were never going to remaster Crisis Core because the storyline in Crisis Core was so different to what they want for the remake, but they were just kind of like, we're going to do it anyway.
Why
So
not?
surprise. So it's kind of like this is a remaster of the original Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core, which is yeah, it looks amazing.
Yeah, so I was going to say, are you quite intrigued then to see how they are going to tie it in and how it is going to kind of like be remade and kind of go into a different direction?
Yeah, honestly, I actually had the amazing privilege to be able to go to the preview event, which was called Square Enix Plays. So I got to
Amazing.
play a little teensy bit of it. And me not having a PSP when I was growing up, my family were poor.
Oh.
you know, we didn't have it. But I didn't get to experience it quite in the same way that people who did have PSPs when they were growing up. So I'm really excited to actually like sink my teeth into it and give it a proper go because I feel like I've kind of played it by osmosis essentially.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think it looks gorgeous. I mean, they've updated the graphics really well.
Yeah.
They've added voice acting where they hadn't had voice acting in the
Ah, that's
past.
interesting.
So like they had like very limited voice acting in the original, and now they've just like everything is has voice acting with it, and then there's a lot of scenes that have been added even in this small little bit that I saw that are more like cinematic. So it looks great, and then the gameplay has been severely upgraded. Like it's so fluid and very similar to the Final Fantasy VII remake, as opposed to the original Crisis Core. So yeah, overall, like it looks sick, and I think that they've made really good choices as how to make it more appealing for this generation of gamer.
Yeah, I was literally because it sounds like they've really made it quite unique and stuff like that, which is great. And it's interesting what you said about the kind of new generation because obviously people that maybe played it on PSP are like really excited, obviously, to give it another play. But do you think it's going to invite like a brand new audience who maybe aren't like up to date with the Final Fantasy kind of like remakes, things like that? Do you think it's going to bring in a whole new world of players?
I really hope so because
Yeah.
like Zach Fair is one of the most celebrated character in Final Fantasy history. He's topped like so many lists of people's favorite characters because he's very charming, he's very sweet, he's very cute. This game obviously like follows his journey as he's trying to hunt down this lost first class soldier
Yeah.
named Genesis Rhapsodus. And so I really hope that people are engaged with the story. I hope that they appreciate like such an amazing story it is for Zach Fair because like Hajime Tabata, the guy who originally directed Crisis Core back in the day, he has a really, really strong gift with storytelling. And I just think, you know, of all of the compilation of Final Fantasy VII, like Crisis Core is one of the most celebrated outside of Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be I really hope it really like just generates all that love that we had back in the day for this generation. I really do.
Yeah, I think so, Ed. I mean, because I've actually never played any Final Fantasy games, but watching the trailers, things like that, it intrigues me, you know, as like a player, and the worlds and everything like that, and you know, the visuals are really nice. So, if you have never played Final Fantasy before, where would you say is the best place to start? Like, what game would you say is a good way to kind of like introduce yourself to the series?
Oh, of course. I mean, honestly, you can't do wrong with the original Final
Yeah,
Fantasy VII because, like, honestly, you know, that's the best way to introduce yourself to all the characters, to the world. And you know, the Final Fantasy VII remake is great, but it does a lot of things differently
yeah,
to what the original is, and so you kind of a lot of stuff will just go right over your head if that was
yeah,
the first game that you played.
yeah.
But even still, like Final Fantasy VII Remake is still a great place to start to just be current, you know, and to be able to experience the gameplay, which is so much fun in the remake. But if I, you know, was giving my professional opinion, I'd say definitely start with the original and then work your way up.
And what was your first thoughts when you first played Final Fantasy? What was it like for you when you first played? Do you remember the experience that you had? When was that for you?
Oh my gosh, yeah, it was when I was a little kid. I played Final
Amazing.
Fantasy VII, and like I just loved it. Like it's a really great story. I love the story of Cloud and Tifa and Aerith. It's really creepy at times, which was like totally unlike what I was playing. Like I was playing platformers like Sonic. Because like there's,
Yeah.
I mean, granted, the underwater levels are a bit did set my anxiety off, but like with Final Fantasy, it was really really cool. Like the story was just so fantastic, and the characters are just they're phenomenal, and the music as well. Oh, I could regurgitate like all day about how much I love Final Fantasy.
Oh, absolutely. Do you know what? Music absolutely makes a game as well. I mean, Lauren, thank you so much for coming on the show because if anyone's watched this and not played it before, because you made me want to play. So I think anyone else has, you've definitely sold the game to everyone here. So thank you so much for your knowledge on the game as well. It's been wicked to have you.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's been so great.
Oh, thank you. We'll catch you soon. Thank you so much.